Hello, welcome to day 415. And what I'm going to do today is go over some of the contemplation or the teaching that we saw in NTI Hebrews over the last week. I'm going to start with NTI Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1 to 2. Chapter 11 was all about faith. And verses 1 to 2 said, faith is driven by desire and powered by belief. And it defined belief as what you accept as true. So that's kind of interesting that faith is driven by desire. So we tend to put faith in something based on what we desire. So an example from my past might be one thing that I desired was safety. Personal safety, as well as safety for myself and my daughter, Jasmine. And also based on my culture, what I put faith in, a lot of faith in, is the value of having a good job. I thought having a good job, being a good worker, a good employee, this is how you kept your family safe. So I put a lot of value in that. This might explain, probably does explain, or at least partially explains why one of the things that happened to me on my path was that I was guided to leave my job. One of the things I later had a desire for was a desire to learn that the world was not real. And in fact, that desire began to be stronger in me than my desire to be safe. And so as this desire came about, and by the way, when I say a desire to learn that the world is not real, that's the same as saying a desire to learn that God is all that's real or truth is all that's real. It's the same desire, just worded differently. So when I had this desire to learn that the world was not real, a desire to learn that God or truth is all that was real, I found myself guided to leave my job and to move into a way of being at service that was not earning any money at the time. There were no donations or anything at all. And what I needed to do during that time was put faith in the unseen. And in fact, NTI Hebrews chapter 11 was written during this period in my journey. So it talks a lot about faith is driven by desire, right? I used to have faith in, I used to have the desire to be safe, and I had faith in the world and having a job. Now that I'm writing NTI Hebrews 11, I have the desire to learn that the world is not real, or the desire to learn as a direct experience that truth is all there is. Spiritual truth is all there is. And so with this new desire, right? And then the second component is belief, right? I have the desire to learn that the truth is true, but what am I accepting as true? Am I still accepting the world as true? Or am I willing to accept this unseen, which we often call consciousness, this unseen power, that's true? And I found myself tested. And in fact, I think we'll read a little bit about tests in here. I found myself tested. For instance, I remember one time when I was living in North Carolina, and I don't know how long I'd been there. I'm going to guesstimate a couple of years. And for a couple of years, I'd been writing NTI, and I had been practicing my own spiritual lessons, again, earning no money. There are no donations coming in. I was also teaching in PAL Talk at the time, in ACIM Gather. And the whole time we were living off of my savings. And so every time a bill came in, every time I wrote a check to pay a bill, I began to get frightened, because my entire life I had been saving money. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a savings. Every paycheck, I'd put some in savings. And I was always watching that savings go up, up, up. And now what I'm doing is watching that savings go down, down, down. So there came a time when I was looking at the local Albemarle, North Carolina newspaper, And I saw a job for a director. Might have been Red Cross. I don't really remember what it was. It seems like it was some charitable organization, but they were looking for a director of the local chapter, and it paid well. When I read the qualifications through my previous work history, I met all of those qualifications. And I also knew that in a little town like Albemarle, North Carolina, there wasn't going to be a lot of competition for this job. I felt to go ahead and update my resume, go ahead and write my cover letter, print everything on nice paper, put it in an envelope, address it. And I was driving to the post office when I heard within my mind something along the lines of, well, I don't remember exactly what I heard now, but the gist of it was that I could mail this envelope and I would get the job, and I could go back to the way that I had been living before, or I could continue my journey with this unseen, right? The mystery of consciousness. And that this was my choice. I could do whichever I wanted. And I took the envelope. I found a trash can and I threw it away. So in that moment, what I taught myself was that I had faith in this unseen, not only because of the strong desire to learn that only the truth is true, but also because I now accepted the unseen as real, as true. I believed it. And that desire plus that belief, accepting that as true, enabled me to throw that cover letter and resume away and return home and continue in service. And of course, you all know that at some point, as my savings was getting closer to running out, a benefactor was provided through the miracle of consciousness. So that's just a little personal demonstration. You know, everyone receives their own guidance, and you will have your own ways of learning whatever it is you need to learn on the spiritual path. But that's what this first paragraph is pointing to, that faith is driven by two things: desire, and it's powered by belief, what you accept as true. And it says in sentence 3, the idea of faith may be placed with one thought, while the power of faith is given to another. So, for example, the idea of faith may have been placed with, I want to learn that the world is not real, right? That was my spiritual aspiration at the time. Or I want to learn that only the truth is true, if it had been stated differently. That may have been the idea of faith. But the power of faith may have been with, okay, I need a job. It's been 2 years. I need a job to keep me and my daughter safe, right? So we can speak, sometimes it comes out as speaking one thing and living another. And so this is one of the things we want to look at within ourselves. You know, we want to ask ourselves what we really want. But then we want to see if there's harmony. Is there harmony between my desire and my belief or my acceptance as true? Is there harmony in my faith? The next sentence at verse 3 says, it is by faith that the universe was formed, and it is by faith that its seeming form is maintained today. This is the power of your faith. So this is saying that where our desire and our belief collides, manifestation occurs. Where our desire and our belief collides into faith, manifestation occurs. So, for example, it's possible to say that this benefactor was able to show up at least partially because I think there's actually multiple factors that go into every manifestation. including her own faith. I don't know if you remember that story, but she was having a lot of faith at the time as well, right? And her faith and my faith came together to bring us together. But we could also say that my faith enabled this benefactor, at least partially enabled this benefactor situation to manifest. Certainly it would not have manifested if I had kept my faith with, you got to have a good job, which by the way, I've always had a good job. Just not the old-fashioned corporate job, right, where it pays in the old-fashioned way. You got to have a good job to be safe, right? If I had gone in that direction, I would have never realized this miracle of this benefactor that has enabled me to follow my inner guidance without ever needing to think about money. So a manifestation, a situation occurred out of, again, my faith, her faith, as well as other factors that we are not aware of. So it is by faith that the universe was formed, and it is by faith that its seeming form is maintained today. This is the power of your faith. As you place your faith in that which is not seen, that which is seen changes to show you where you put your faith. So when this benefactor showed up, that was a very positive manifestation that enabled me to trust more, enabled me to go further. And in fact, we find that as we put our faith with God, put our faith with truth, and we live that faith, we put the power of our faith there, there are positive manifestations that show up to encourage us to continue further along this journey. At verses 8 to 10, sentence 3, it also says, practice without faith is dead, for it is your faith that brings all things to you within perception. I remember the story that I heard once of a man who quit his job. Well, he did it a little differently. Supposedly a spiritual student, supposedly on the spiritual path, but the way the story goes is he quit his job kind of as a dare. You know, like, okay, let's see if God will really take care of me. In other words, in that statement, okay, let's see if God will really take care of me. His actual faith was that it wouldn't. His actual faith was that he needs to take care of myself, maybe because there is no God or consciousness that's going to take care of him. There is no positive manifestation that's going to appear to take care of him. And of course, his story turned out that he proved himself right and went back to work. But what's interesting is it's not that consciousness took care of Regina and didn't take care of him. It's that Regina's faith manifested in a certain way. And his faith, what he was putting faith in, the world, I got to take care of myself, also manifested in that way. You see, it's not that God loved one of us and took care of one of us and did not love and take care of the other. It's that what we put our faith in was a part of a manifestation. And our faith manifested perfectly. So in a way, although it looks like different results, it was the exact same result. So a part of what we're being looked at here is to look at where are we actually placing our faith, not just our speaking, our talking, oh, I have faith in, but our living, the power of our faith. Practice without faith is dead, right? It's your faith that brings all things to you within perception. As you ask for guidance and give faith that it will be given, guidance is that which will come. It shall lead you step by step, not into form, right? Guidance isn't here to tell you how to get that job that you believe in, not true right-minded guidance, but away from it. It's the true guidance of spirit is to lead you away from the belief and form to the realization of truth. As you see the power of your faith you are led to accept that the truth has always been true. Verses 17 to 19. By faith in what is beyond perception, let go of the dreams that are perceived. Do not ask in your heart for rewards given in perception. So in my case, it would mean do not ask in my heart for a job to show up so that I can feel safe in the way that I've always felt safe before, right? That's just going to keep my false concepts alive. Do not ask in your heart for rewards given in perception. Ask only that you may be led away from dreams. That's the same as ask only that you may be led to truth realization. And then perception shall answer in a way that is helpful so that you may welcome and realize an increase in faith. NTI Hebrews chapter 12 says, do not be tricked by your own desire, which does not come to you from the truth of the heart. Question everything by the heart, and you set out in the way of Jesus. So again, we've seen that desire is an important, critical component of faith, and that faith manifests, right? And so one of the things we want to look at is, what is the desire? What am I actually desiring now? Am I desiring safety? Am I desiring truth? Am I desiring to avoid something, which is actually, believe it or not, desiring fear? Or am I desiring trust, right? You know, we want to look very carefully at what we're desiring. In every moment, we're either desiring illusion or we're desiring truth. But in order to see what we're desiring, we need to look very carefully at our desires. Question everything by the heart. The way of the heart is the way of love and attentiveness. Walk slowly and surely, paying attention as you go, and you shall be shown the way of dreams that you may let go and say goodbye to them. So this is saying we really need to keep our attention focused this way as we go through our daily lives, so we can notice what's going on with us. If I notice right now I'm slipping into desiring safety, then I can say, is safety what I really want? Or do I want to learn that the truth is true, right? Do I want to have a direct experience of eternal truth? And if I realize, no, what I really want is this direct experience of eternal truth, then I can let go of the desire for safety. But if I don't notice the desire for safety in my mind, I can't question it. So we have to pay close attention to ourselves, walk slowly and surely, paying attention as you go. And here we go. I mentioned earlier a test that I went through regarding safety and the desire for truth. It says, in your freedom, you draw your tests to you, that you may know your freedom through your choice. Remember that each circumstance is a gift given by you for your own healing, and you accept each gift graciously within the gratitude with which it was given. So this test about, should I go back to work now, or should I continue on this mysterious path through guidance? That's a test that I drew to myself because I was ready to draw it to myself. And then, of course, I passed the test, if you want to call it passing. Actually, it would have been okay if I went either way. But what I learned through whichever way I go is what I really want at the time. If I had gone back to work as the director of whatever this was, whatever this charitable company was, then I would have learned what I wanted. And that's okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I learned that I wanted to learn that the truth is true because I threw that cover letter and that resume away. I want to say to you right now, it's really important that I say to you, there's nothing that's required of you on this spiritual path. So when I tell my stories, I'm telling my stories as symbols But it doesn't mean that if you're working a job, for example, that you don't have faith in God. Please don't interpret it that way. First of all, your spiritual path is one path and my spiritual path is another path. And at the same time, if there is some kind of guidance that comes or some kind of test that comes, and you choose one way instead of the other way, that's perfectly fine. Because you are taking the path you need to take to prepare yourself for decisions that are yet to come. So that leads to the next thing I'm going to read. Have compassion for yourself. Have compassion for yourself rather than judging yourself, and be firm in your desire and realize what you want and hold to that, whatever it is, right? It's not like a spiritual desire that you're supposed to have. It's the desire that is the calling of your heart now. Whatever the desire that comes from the calling of your heart, whatever that desire is now, that's perfect because it's coming as a calling from God. So just know what it is that you want the most, hold to that, and then have compassion for yourself when you seem to not choose that, right? That's what this is saying. Know the desire that you want. The deepest desire, that's the calling of God in you, whatever that is. Know the desire that you want. Be firm in that desire. Keep that in the forefront of your mind. And when you happen to slip and not keep that in the forefront of your mind, have compassion for yourself. When the way of the heart is forgotten through the drowsiness of your day, rejoice that an error has been seen. Whenever you notice that you forgot your desire, your true desire, your calling, and you slipped into something else, and then you see it, be happy that you see it. Because we can only make another choice when we see the unconscious choice that we're making. NTI Hebrews chapter 13. We are all one. Everything that you perceive, be it seen or unseen, within your awareness or known only as a memory, all that is one. Stand grateful within it, as it, in awe of all that is. Then love your brother as yourself, remembering that he is yourself, even if he seems to be completely unaware. This is just reminding us that everything is the unseen. It appears in many different forms. It appears through faith, through the faith that you could say all of us together have through the process of creation that we learned in NTI Ephesians. It appears that way because of where our believing attention is going as a whole. But what it is consciousness. So love it as the consciousness that it is. Don't be confused by the temporary form that's appearing. When you do that, you're putting faith in pure consciousness. And you will have experiences of pure consciousness to confirm your faith. All things are the same yesterday, today, and forever. Not for what they seem to be, but for what they are. Look beyond what they seem to be, which changes, to what they are, which can never change. And you look beyond dreams, because appearances are dreams, to the truth of what you are. Because the truth of what you are is the truth of what everything is. So put faith in the unseen. Put the power of your belief in the unseen. And let the unseen reveal itself to you. So this coming week, we're diving into NTI James. You've already started it with the 2 audios from the previous weekend, as well as a portion of the reading of chapter 1. You will have 2 more audios from NTI James as you're reading next weekend as well. So we're really going to be focused on NTI James this coming week. You're also going to have walkabout exercises that are very similar to the walkabout exercises that you had in the previous week, where you're sticking with a particular contemplation throughout the day. And in fact, that's the way our walkabout exercises are going to go for quite a while. So watch every day. Sometimes the contemplations are very similar to the previous day, but there may be a slight change. So don't assume that it's the same as the previous day. Read it carefully to see if you see a slight change in the contemplation for the day. We're also continuing with the loving consciousness audios. And that's it. That's all I have to tell you about what's coming up. So I enjoy talking to you each week, even though I don't get to see you. I know you're there. And have a wonderful week. Bye.